Alright guys, first thing you want to do is add your water. Now you want to go ahead and add in your chicken flavor. And we're going to bring this to a boil. And once that's happening, you want to add in your 16 ounces of elbows, pasta elbows. Go ahead and stir that a little bit, make sure it doesn't stick. You're just going to boil that till your pasta's done. Now the pasta's done, we're going to go ahead and pour that out, let it drain. Put it in your strainer. We're going to take this over to our other pot. And we're just going to let that sit there for a while. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of butter just to make sure the pasta doesn't stick. And I used unsalted butter. That was my preference. Just gonna mix that butter in real good, and just let the pasta sit there while we get the oven preheated to 350. And we're gonna go ahead and make our roux. Alright guys, now what you want to do is get you another pot. Go ahead and add in 4 tablespoons of butter. We're going to bring that, or let that melt. And I'm at medium-high heat here. It's going to take a few minutes, just let that butter melt. And once it's melted, we're going to go ahead with 3 tablespoons of flour. And we're just going to stir that for about 3 to 4 minutes, however you like the roux to look. But I do it for 3 to 4 minutes or so. Constantly stirring. And how I decided to go about making this, I went ahead and prepped all my, pretty much everything. I got all my seasons measured out. I got all my cheese shredded up, just everything prepared, the milk measured out, everything. So when I started all this, that I could just dump it all, that, you know, when that step come, I'd be ready to go. So do it however you like, but I thought just go ahead and prep everything. Definitely helps out a lot.
So now what I'm gonna do is kind of start adding some milk.
Now guys, here, this is where you're gonna start slowly adding in your water. You're gonna be using a total of 2 cups of milk for this to make your roux. I just put it in a little bit, constantly, just let it stir, and you'll start feeling it or seeing that it's gonna thicken up. And when you start seeing that, just add in a little more, just keep doing that till you put all your 2 cups of milk. And then what we're gonna do here, after you've added all your 2 cups, we're gonna bring that to a simmer. As you can tell, I'm kind of going ahead and prepping the oven. Have some pots in there. I want to go ahead and get that out while the oven's heating up.
Huh? No, I seen them a while ago. I just trying to get this.
And here, I just want to take a moment and apologize for the videoing. This is actually my first time doing this, so we're using a phone, my iPhone. So in time, I'm hoping to get better. So like I said, you can see it simmering right now. And that's going to be where we're going to start adding in our cheeses. So right now I'm adding in the 4 cheese, the Mexican blend. We're going to get that in there and stir that up, let it melt. And then we're going to add in 8 ounces Velveeta cheese cut up in like little cubes. We're going to add in a handful of your Colby Jack that you shredded and a handful of your medium cheddar that you shredded, and just let all that melt and just stir it up real good and just let it melt. Like I said, we're on medium high. Just want to make sure you're constantly stirring. As you can tell, it's looking extra cheesy, which is how I love it. As you can tell, like I said, it's just a handful. You're gonna save your remaining cheese for your topping to go ahead and top that off. Just gonna continue stirring, letting this melt. And then once you get it good and everything's melted down, that's when we're going to start throwing in some of our seasonings. Which, like I said, I've already prepped all this in a container, so all of it's already mixed together. I'm just going to dump it all in at one time. Like I said, this is where we're putting it in. That's 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, 2 teaspoons onion powder, and 2 teaspoons of complete seasoning. You can find all of this stuff at your Walmart or Food Line. And what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of mix that together for a minute or so, just to make sure the seasoning's in there real good.
cut it off. We're gonna add in the cheese and mix it hot.
All right, guys. Now that that has cooked for a couple more minutes, we're gonna go ahead and add that to our macaroni. And just a heads up, I should have put the macaroni in a bigger bowl so that when I go to mix it, it'll be a whole lot easier. So I recommend using a bigger bowl and then transferring it to your oven safe container pot or whatever you're using. Like I said, we're just getting this cheese mixed in with the macaroni real good. This is a eat simple recipe. There is quite a few steps in this, so if you've never made it, it can kind of be a little frustrating at times. But it's definitely worth it at the end. As you can tell, we're mixing it in right now. Making sure that cheese gets in there real good. Like I said, I eventually transferred it to a bigger bowl. It just made my life so much easier so I can get it mixed in better. Also, this is the part where you're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of sour cream and 1 tablespoon of your complete seasoning. And also half a cup of milk. And just let that mix up really well. And once again, just make sure your oven's at 350.
Got that. Oh no.
So I'm just kind of taking you back and showing you what I did when I added in the complete seasoning, the half a cup of milk, and the sour cream. Mixing that in real good.
Yeah.
And from here, I mean, this is pretty much it. You've done that all your leg work. So from here, we're just gonna get this mixed up one final time. We're gonna transfer it back to our oven safe container. And make sure you cover it with tin foil. And we're gonna put it in the oven for 20 minutes, covered up. Here, I'm just transferring it back to my container. All right, guys, like I said, it's been in there for 20 minutes. Go ahead and pull that off. And now this is the part where we're going to go ahead and add in our remaining cheese. Just spread it across the top of it. And this part we're going to go back into the oven for 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on how you like it, how you like yours to look. And this time it's going to be uncovered. Also, while I have a moment, you can play this however you like. Actually, my mom's not really big on spice, so I've actually made this without the cayenne pepper or the paprika, just because of her. And it's still very good. Just depends on, you know, how your spice level is. If you like it spicy, you can even add more cayenne, paprika, however you want to go about it. But I love this recipe just because it comes out very cheesy and creamy. Here we go, guys. Final result. That's 30 minutes in the oven, by the way. If you're like me, I love macaroni and cheese. One of my favorite dishes.
Right here.
Bubbling. Gotta love it.
Now that's creamy. Cheesy. Cheesy later.
How we do our salsa?
I will have the ingredients and everything posted below. Here we go, taste test.